From the halls of Montezuma to the shore of Tripoli, we will fight our country's battles on land, in air, and sea. First to fight for right and freedom, and to keep our honor clean. We are proud to claim the title of United States Marine. Hoorah! Hoorah! Right, I'm gonna try it one more time. Hoorah! Hoorah! So very motivating, very motivating. Thank you, man. Have a seat. I'm here to talk today a little bit about leadership, a little bit about greatness, a little bit about accomplishing great things in life. And when I talk about that, I always like to talk about myself. It's like my therapy. When I talk up here, it's like my therapy. So I remember my freshman year when I first came to high school. One of the things I decided to do is join the football team. Not because I wanted to, because all my friends were joining. So I followed the crowd. We were doing two-a-days. We were doing what was called up-downs. Anybody know what up-downs are? Sorry, tell me what up-downs are.
Up, down, you start chopping your feet, you fall down, do a push-up, come up and jump up with your hands in the air.
That's right. Every time that coach blows the whistle, you're going to hit the deck and jump back up again. But this particular day, we had done so many up-downs that I could no longer feel my arms. I could barely feel my legs. There was a burning sensation in my chest and in my back. And all in my mind, all I could think about was how much I wanted this pain to stop. How much I wanted practice to be over. In my mind, after 20 years, I still remember the number I convinced myself that I could do. 20 years ago, over 20 years ago, that number was 5. I set a number in my mind, that number was 5, and I said I can only do 5 more before I quit. As I counted off in my mind, 5, 4, 3, I begged, plead, prayed that coach would stop practice, but he didn't. When I went down for that last one, in my mind, I knew this was the last one. I hit the deck, and that was it. I rolled myself off of that ground. It took almost everything I had to get off that ground, but I had enough energy to quit. It took everything I had to get off that ground, but I still had enough energy to quit. Still had enough energy to walk off that field. So that means I didn't give everything I had, because I still had energy left. See, in life, you got to do over and over again, not what's easy. See, sometimes you have to do what's hard. But if you do what's easy, life will consistently get harder. But if you do now what's hard, life will consistently get easier. Unfortunately for me, it was the first. I quit. Every time after that I quit, it became easier and easier and easier. I remember walking into the store as a kid, no money in my pocket, taking a little candy bar off the shelf and putting it in my pocket. I remember the first time I did that, my heart was beating almost like it was going to jump out of my chest. But every time I stole after that, it became easier. I remember I used to lie. Every time I lied, it became easier. It was nothing for me to call the answer of, lying or otherwise. Cheating. Every time I cheated, it became easier. I didn't say all these things to glorify him at all. I just want to show you how easy it is once you do something over and over again consistently, how easier it gets. See, those things made life harder for me down the road. I remember graduating, or during my senior year, we had senior counseling where we had to go and talk to the guidance counselor. And she sat me down in her office and she said, George, what do you plan to do with your life after high school? I said, well, I thought about going to high school, going to college. Not because I wanted to, but that's what everyone else was saying. I rolled with the crowd. Found myself at University of Louisville my freshman year. Made all F's. Came back to here to Orlando, went to Valencia Community College. Barely went to class. And eventually stopped going altogether. Because I didn't have a plan with my life. I went back to hanging on the block. Just hanging out, having a good time, partying. I'll never forget that summer, 95. Never forget that summer. Partied so hard that summer that I got evicted within 3 months, 3 times. So much, in fact, that nobody would rent to me in that area anymore. And I became homeless. Someone who thought I had all the answers, I knew it all. I knew everything. Even when people tried to tell me, oh, I already know that, I'm good. But became homeless, sleeping in the backseat of a car. Sleeping in the backseat of a car. I would go to bed late and get up early just so no one would see me in that car. Because it's embarrassing. It's very embarrassing. I eventually found myself moving. I moved to Hinesville, Georgia. I had saved up a couple dollars from hustling. Something else I'm not very proud of. But the party was back on. We rented out a couple hotels and just partied for about a week straight. Once all the money was gone, I had nowhere else to go. But luckily I had a cousin that stayed in that same city. And she let me come stay with her for a little while. And she sat me down, just like my guidance counselor sat me down. And she asked me that same question. George, what are you going to do with your life? What are you going to do with your life? By that time, I thought of a quick answer. Well, I had talked to a Marine Corps recruiter, and he told me he can get me out of here pretty fast. I'm thinking about maybe going to the Marine Corps. And she stopped me right there. She said, no, don't think about it. That's what you need. You need a little structure in your life, a little discipline. And I think the Marine Corps offered it to you. So I decided to go ahead and do that. Found myself in Parris Island, South Carolina, where they make United States Marines. No, I said, at South Carolina, where they make United States Marines. Oh, thank you, far too kind, far too kind. But I was the same person when I got there. The same liar, cheater, stealer, quitter when I got there. That hadn't changed. That hadn't changed. They gave us what's called an initial strength test. Had to do a series of pull-ups, crunches, and run a mile and a half. I think back then it was about 12 minutes and 30 seconds. I got up on that pull-up bar and knocked out 12 pull-ups, no problem. I got down on the ground and I rolled out 60 crunches, no problem. But I knew, in the back of my mind, I already knew that run was gonna give me problems. I got less than a half a mile into the run when I completely gave up, completely quit. Because by now it was easy for me to do. I quit so many times before in my life. It was nothing for me to quit, not even at Parris Island. Slowing down, I could feel the drill instructors behind me yelling at me, get up there, recruit. Didn't bother me. I quit. Became easy. But it sent me to what's called physical conditioning platoon, PCP. We knew it as pork chop platoon, where they sent the fat bodies, where they sent the people who couldn't hack it. That's where I ended up. I ended up in PCP. As I laid in my rack that night, when they turned the lights off, I can feel that tears that start to fall down my face. And for the first time in a long time, I prayed. I'll never forget that. First time in a long time, I prayed. I prayed for the strength to get me through it. I prayed for the courage for me to make it. I prayed. I prayed. And I prayed. I made up in my mind that night that I want to be a Marine. I wanted to be a Marine. In my heart, I wanted to be a Marine. Even more so than I wanted to be anywhere else. But by that time, I had burned all my bridges behind me. There was nowhere for me to go but forward. My future involved the Marine Corps. I made up in my mind that my future involved the Marine Corps. That I needed a change. I needed that discipline. I needed that discipline. My drill instructor told me 7 words that changed the rest of my life. Pain is only weakness leaving the body. Pain is only weakness leaving the body, and that's how you have to look at it. You have to view it as something other than what it is. Just pain. No, we got to look at it something better. Opportunity. Pain is an opportunity for you to be better. Be better than you were yesterday. That's the goal in life, to be better than we were yesterday. We don't need to make it a long stretch goal, one step at a time. Life is a game of inches. So if you're getting better every day, eventually you'll be the person that you want to be. Those words. Pain is only weakness leaving the body. Changed my life. Praying changed my life. I came across a scripture in the Bible. Romans 12:2. Be ye not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewal of your mind. Everything in life starts with a thought. Everything in life starts with a thought. In order to change anything, you must first change the way you think. You look at the world and say, how can we change the world? A man once asked that question, how do we change the world? The answer was first changing yourself. That's how you change the world. By first changing yourself. See, when you change the way you look at things, what you look at will change. And I'll say that again. When you change the way you look at things, what you look at will change. That's what life is all about. It's all about making the necessary changes. Make the adjustments. MTJ. Hey, make the adjustments. In life, you have to make the adjustments. If it don't work one way, if you really want to do it, if it doesn't work one way, you can either make excuses or make adjustments. Either make excuses or make adjustments. Making excuses is the easy thing to do. Making excuses is the easy thing to do. But I promise you, if you can continue to take those shortcuts, continue to take the easy way out, life will continue to be hard for you. Hard for you. But Marine Corps, that's about as tough as it gets, baby. Marine Corps is about as tough as it gets. If you become a Marine, you can do anything. I promise you that. If you become a Marine, you can do anything. Marines can do anything. I believe that. I believe that. Marines can do anything. I don't just say that. That's not just slip service. I believe Marines can do anything. Because it's about life is about a mental toughness. It's about a mental toughness. Life is all, nobody's exempt from pain. Nobody's exempt from struggle. You look at the man with the most money in the world, he probably has health problems. Can't even spend it. Everybody got some kind of struggle. It's how you deal with that struggle, how you look at that struggle. Mentally, you have to be tough. This world's going to give you all it got. And when you take it, you ask for a little more. When you take all that life has to offer you, you ask for a little more. You have to let pain become your vitamin. You have to let pain become your vitamin. You have to let no become your vitamin. You're going to hear no's a lot of times. You're going to hear impossible a lot of times. But impossible is nothing. Impossible is only what you make it. Impossible is only what you make it. Many years ago, it was said that to run a mile in less than 4 minutes was impossible. People tried and tried and tried and couldn't make it. One guy was convinced that he could do it. He listened to some of the smart guys, some of the doctors, some of the scientists. They said, they did all these studies about how the body was made, and they said, scientifically, it's impossible. To run a mile in less than 4 minutes, scientifically, it's impossible. If a person was to run a mile in less than 4 minutes, because of the way the body's made, that person would die. And this guy, Roger Bannister, decided in his mind that that's not nothing. Impossible is nothing. He's not going to accept impossible. So on May 6, 1954, he crossed the finish line in 3 minutes and 59 seconds and collapsed. He fell because of exhaustion. Now in his mind, he probably thought, oh man, they were right, I'm dead. But then when he realized he wasn't dead, he realized that all that impossible talk was nothing. All he had to do was make it up in his mind that he was going to do it. And see, one thing happens when you achieve something that they say is impossible, other people can go behind you and do what used to be impossible. Like today, that mile has been beat by more than 17 seconds. After it said 4 minutes is impossible. When one person does it, it opens the doors for other people to do it. Because no one has done it yet is not an excuse. You be the first one to do it, and other people will do it after you. You become the person that does it. You be the person that, for your community, that lifts your community up. We all have an obligation to make each other better, to lift each other up. And when we begin to lift each other up, it's a funny thing that happens. We begin to lift our own self up. Smart man Zig Ziglar once said the way to get everything we want in this lifetime is to help enough other people get what they want. That's how you do it. By being a help, being a service. Being a service. Anybody can point out a problem. Anybody can point out a problem. But only leaders look for the solutions to those problems. If you want to get paid in life, you find the solutions. You find the solutions. You want to be successful in life, you find the solutions. Don't look to the problem, find the solutions. Find the solution. One of my favorite boxers, Muhammad Ali, called himself the greatest of all time. People doubted him. People doubted him. He knew he was going to be the greatest. He knew he was destined to be the champ. In 1960, he went and fought in the Olympics. Won the light heavyweight champion. Gold medal. Gold medal. He was the champ. He was the champ. He was the champ. See, life is not always going to be fun and games. It's not going to be roses. You know, you're going to have to do some things that you don't want to do, maybe. Those things are going to make you tougher. They're going to make you better. There's a story I'm reminded of a grandfather who's talking to his grandkids. And he tells them about a struggle that's going on inside of him. And he said the same struggle is going on inside of everyone. It's a struggle with two wolves. Struggle with two wolves. He said one is courageous and one's a coward. He said one is smart and one not so. He said one is tough and one is not so tough. One is good and one is evil. And the kids looked at their grandfather and said, well, grandfather, which one will win? He said, the wolf that wins is the one you feed. The wolf that'll win is the one you'll feed. So if you'll feed your courage, if you'll feed your greatness, those are the things that count. Those are the things that count. That's one that'll grow. That's the one you want to grow. The one that has courage, the one fearless, the one that's good intentions, the one that wants to change the world and do what's right. That's the wolf you have to feed. That's the wolf you have to feed. See, life will throw things at you. It's up to us mentally how we decipher things, how we take things and move them around. There's one more story I want to share about a young lady who came home one day after a tough day at school. And she just couldn't take it anymore. She talked to her grandmother and she said, this is the day I want to end it all, grandmother. I can't take it anymore. So her grandmother brings her into the kitchen and she said, baby, go in that refrigerator and grab me an egg and a carrot. And then go in the cabinet and grab me some coffee beans. The little girl was puzzled. She didn't know how to take this, but she went and got the stuff anyway. Grandmother pulled out 3 pots and put water in all 3 of them. In one pot she put the egg, in one pot she put the carrot, and in one pot she put the coffee grounds. What happened to the egg when it began to boil? The egg started off with a hard shell, but a soft inside. The water represents the world. See, the world threw so much stuff at that egg, and during that boiling process, it became hard inside. See, a lot of times life will throw so many things at us, we become hard inside, tough. And the carrot. That carrot went in hard. But after the boiling process, after the light threw everything at it, it became soft and mushy. It changed. You see, See, that coffee bean was the only one that was different from all three. The coffee beans went into the same circumstances, but instead of changing itself, it changed the circumstances. It changed the